All right, folks, we are back. Round 6, U.S. Championships. We are in the middle of it here. Big game between Fabi Caruana and Wesley So. All right, let's see what's happening here. This one, this one is just like, just opened up this one super sharp in the end game. Fabi here going after Wesley's king. Does Wesley have perpetual check? I don't see it. So this might be winning for Fabi that we just opened up to. Move 41, he's turning mate. If Black gives check, King H2, the checks run out very fast. He can go Queen G8 to defend maybe, but then Knight F7 check, King H7. Queen G8 seems like it's still holding, though it feels very suspicious for Black. Feels like maybe White can just attack there with like Knight E4. Okay, Queen G8 played. Let's go back. They're move 41. I think they have extra time here coming once they run out of this time. Let's go back and see how this game developed. I saw this was Knight F3 and D4. So kind of reverse Benoni opening. Fabi well prepared as usual. Very much trying to win. Oh, G6. Okay, so this is where it got tactical. So takes. Getting 2 pieces for the rook, but now it's piece up for White. But knight on B3 hangs. Check. H7. Wow, crazy tactics here. It looks like Black is basically just barely defending. Okay, a few games already finished. A couple of games still going. Apar and Shankland. Check here. What's going on in this one? Looks like Black is up a pawn, but under some heavy pressure. So White has some threats here. Levon Hans was drawn. This was Nimzo. Let's see what happened here. So A3 Nimzo, D6, C5, Knight D7, Knight B6, E5. Okay, sharp stuff. But ultimately things kind of liquidated. And White never really had a chance from what I can tell. Ooh, nice combo. And this one, easy draw. I wonder Savian also draw. Let's just see how this happened. Exchange French. Sam got F6 and draw agreed here too. Let's go back. And then Andy Woodward won his game. So Andy back to even score. 2 straight wins. One over Sam Sevian, one over Darius Swiertz. Wow, go Andy. Okay, here, G3, B6. Interesting opening. Hey, Sweet Blues, how's it going? Just getting started here. So white won a pawn in this game. 2 pawns, and then was able to slowly convert it. Whoa. Oh, black resigned. Because now queen c7, rook takes d7, queen b8, queen takes c2, rook takes rook, we make a queen. Here couldn't take. Dang, very nice technical game by Andy. I don't even know how he managed to win the pawn. Somehow knight b5 and b4, and he takes. And now there was no queen a8 because of rook c8 check. So here, Darius must have done something wrong tactically because he ends up losing the pawn. Okay. And then Misha Robson still playing. They have this rook endgame. Extra pawn for Mishra, but Robson very active here. So I would think this is pretty drawish. Okay, key game here between the two leaders, Fabiano against Wesley. So move 41, equal material, but White's position just looks tremendous. Question is it actually winning? Like, I was thinking he has like knight e4, queen g5 check ideas, followed by knight f6. And he does, but knight e4 is met with bishop e7. And so, okay, there's a funny line here. Knight e4, bishop e7, queen g5 check could try. Take, here, check. Then king h8. Or king g7, actually, let's say. King g7, more forcing. Because if double check, you won't get the queen. So you have to take the queen. King takes. And then we get some endgame like this, which hard to judge at first glance, but maybe is good for white because you get bishop c7, bishop takes a5. And you cover the d pawn. So this would be winning for white because I think the 2 pawns on the outside, bishop and king, are just too strong. King would pick up this pawn, slowly stop that pawn, and that's kind of a funny line, huh? Knight e4 possible here. Threatening queen g5, knight f6, bishop e7, queen g5 anyway. So takes, we get that endgame of king h7, knight f6 check, take. This one is not so clear that this is good for white. Like black goes d3 and okay, but probably white is at least fine because he's very active and d pawn is not going anywhere. But super interesting position here. Okay, knight f7 check played, king h7. Knight g5 back, so Fabio repeats once, but I don't think he's going to repeat again because he should have 30 minutes coming here. He should have another 30 minutes added once his initial time runs out. Okay, if there's any games you guys want to follow, let me know. But for now, we'll stick to Fabio maybe. No, Jackson, he's got another 30 minutes after this, so I expect him to start to tank here. Thank you, Eric. Hello, Katu. How's it going? Yeah, something about the clocks. That they have to run out of time before they get 30 extra moves. I'm not sure why that is. So he just takes. Very simple. He doesn't go for my fancy knight e4, queen g5 line. Just takes on d4. And now it's extra pawn for white. And better king. So, to my eyes, very decent winning chances for Fabi. Very decent. Hello, Miguel. Hello, Ali. What's up, everyone? Oh, Carissa beat Irina today. Carissa storming back in the women's. Now she's on +1. And she's going to be within a point or so. King's Indian from Carissa. Love to see it. Yeah. Great game by her. Tato today looks to be equal against Rose Atwell. So, rooting for Tatev. How was Chris's drip level today? I'm not sure. I saw the fiasco yesterday with the autumnal sweater. I saw people were getting death threats over calling it a Christmas sweater. So I'm sure she's back on her form today. Okay, a pawn in Shanklin. Still extra pawn for black, but tricky. Looks like white's winning the exchange there. And Mr. Robson still looking drawish. So, alright, let's just watch this 5e game for now. Guys have questions in the meantime? Kind of a slow day today. Are the women's games only viewable on chess.com? I'm not sure what you mean. You can see both sections on chess.com. Cameron Heidi. Hello, hello. Thanks for rating. What's up, Cameron? Hope your stream went well. We're just following some games here from US Championships today. We're in the middle of round 6. People were asking where to follow the game. So you can follow both sections on chess.com, open and women's. I don't think there's any there's no site on which you can follow one tournament but not the other. But yeah, yesterday we were talking about, I think Lichess is still boycotting US tournaments, so no US championships on Lichess either section as far as I know. But yeah, we were looking at this Fabi Wesley game. Last move, bishop takes d4. Fabi grabbing a pawn. And yeah, to me, I thought this position's looking really nice for white. Very active, extra pawn, king is weak. Oh, Jorg has a nice line. Bishop e7 is possible. But then white can trade queens. And yeah, if black wins the pawn back, then bishop c3 and white again gets an extra pawn, and this should be completely winning endgame for white. Bishop versus knight. The bishop is just so strong with pawns on both sides of the board. Hello, Fuschess. Question. Oh, Cameron hit 2200 rapid. Nice. Congratulations. Well done. Okay, question. It used to be common knowledge that queen and knight is somewhat better than queen and bishop, but in Watson's Secrets of Modern Chess Strategy, he claimed it was position dependent and incorrect to generalize it. So is 5b better here primarily because of the well-placed knight and black's king vulnerability? Well, I mean, there's both sets of pieces on the board here. Or are you talking about if knight takes d4, queen d4? Yeah, so this queen and knight against queen and bishop thing is very controversial. I remember hearing Jan Gustafsson saying that it's not so clear. I don't know. In my experience, it does feel like queen and knight is the more practical combo. Like it's somehow easier to play, but maybe objectively this isn't the case. I think either way, it's like more important to understand how to utilize each piece most effectively. Yeah, when the king is weak, I think the queen and knight are just really good at attacking it. But here it's like white's queen is also active. So if black was the one that had like the queen and the bishop all up in white's business, then black would be better because black would be the one having threats, right? So I think this position is really more about the activity of the queens versus like who has which piece. If you take and you give white, like let's say take, and then you make this a darksphere bishop and you make this a knight, and like king h7, and then white is still better, like queen and knight against queen and bishop because black's king is weak. So I think in this case it's like white could have either piece against either piece and still be better, because black's king is in trouble and because the white's queen is like so central and active. So I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to judge the minor piece endgames. But I don't know. Personally, I feel a preference towards the queen and knight. I feel like they do coordinate well and are tricky to face. And yeah, it's logical. Knight can attack both colors, right? So you feel like the knight is better when things are localized. We'll see if Wesley can defend this one. It's not so clear to me right now. To me, it looks like Fabi's position is nice. Wesley, my second goat. Wow. After Hans, of course. After Hans. Who else could it be? Who else could even dare? Okay, knight d4 played. Miguel's asking what was the issue with knight takes h4. Actually, I wasn't looking at this one. But it does look very scary for black. Yeah, I'm not totally sure. Well, knight f7 check, king moves, and then knight e4 also possible. Maybe knight e4. Knight f5 and like this actually. Yeah, knight e4. So you're hitting the knight and you're hitting queen g5, knight f6. Exactly. I think that's it. Wow, Fabi didn't take the repetition. I think he's better, so of course, why would he take the repetition, right? Because he's got active pieces. Would white not want to trade queens? That reduces your threat. So generally, if your opponent's king is very vulnerable, then yeah, you don't want to trade queens. But you can play the game different ways. So here, for example, after bishop e7, you can say, I don't want to trade queens. I'm going to keep my queen on the board. That would be logical. But you can also say, oh, if I do trade queens and go for this endgame, I'm a pawn up, and I'm threatening to play bishop c3 and win a second pawn up, which I know would be completely winning. Okay, it's still complicated. Black has knight takes h4, but like check, here, here, here. But you might think like, oh, I'm winning this endgame, therefore trading queens is good because I simplify into winning endgame. So of course there's, you can convince yourself to go both directions. Yeah, Jackson, in that line, I think queen e7 is covered by the bishop. So takes on the board, queen g7 on the board. So this endgame very different for black, because even though white's up a pawn, Wesley's saying that he's going to be able to hold it down a pawn because the bishop is stronger than the knight, and he has an easy target on h4. I'm not sure if he's correct. I mean, for all I know, this could be a nice endgame for white. Let's say I don't know, maybe here, or maybe king f1, knight comes back to f3, king slowly starts walking this way. Eventually the knight finds itself over here. So we'll see if Fabi goes for the endgame. My intuition is that he's not going to trade, and that it's easier, maybe white has more chances if he keeps queens on the board, but he has to calculate. It's not like he has forced checkmate or anything that's so obvious here. After queen f4, black might be able to just take on b2 and say, do your worst. I don't see such a clear... Well, yeah, it's really hard to calculate this stuff. Let's say take... Let's say white gives this check, just for argument's sake, this check, and like comes back. Like, this looks like this could be devastating. But then black plays queen g7. And white hasn't really done much. Chess Moita asks, is not trading queens here a better option because queen and knight is usually better than queen and bishop? So we actually just talked about that like 3 minutes ago. And it's like queen and knight actually is not like necessarily better than queen and bishop. But also that's not like the only factor you would consider. Right? Like if you're choosing between two positions, it's not just about queen and knight. There's other things to think about. Like, can you win the endgame after queen takes? What if this endgame is winning after takes, and you can win the knight versus bishop endgame? Then who cares if queen and knight is better than queen and bishop? You can win that endgame, you trade queens. Right? That's how I think the thought process should be. Yeah, it's always a tough choice, like to consider whether or not to trade queens. I think the biggest factor is usually king safety. Whoever has the safer king generally wants to keep the queens on the board. If your king is safer, you want the queens on the board. But things are always very concrete. So in chess, you can't just always make decisions based on thoughts and principles, right? If that was the case, then everyone's smart, everyone would be making right choices all the time. You would just think about the principles. Okay, queen and knight is better than queen and bishop, therefore I should keep queens on the board. It's like, oh, double pawns are better than, or not better than, not double pawns, therefore I shouldn't double. Like, if chess was fully principle based, then every move would be easy because you can just follow the principles and figure out what to do. The problem is that sometimes, many times, the principles are not so easy to figure out and they conflict with each other. One principle says one thing, another principle says another thing. This is a great example. One principle says you should keep the queen on the board because queen and knight is supposedly better than queen and bishop. Another principle says you should keep the queens on the board because black's king is in danger, and so we should keep the queens when our opponent's king is less safe. But then another principle says you should trade queens when you're up a pawn, when you're up material, right? Here we're up a pawn. So the principle of being up material says we should trade queens. So we have a couple of principles that say we shouldn't trade queens. We have principles that say we should trade queens. How do we know what the right decision is? It's very hard. Chess is a difficult game. Sometimes it comes down to concrete matters, like whether there's some key line here that white can find that allows him to win the endgame. What we can say is that based on Fabi's decision, that'll clue us into what he thinks about the endgame. So if he keeps queens on the board, then we know he probably didn't think the endgame was winning. If he thinks the endgame was winning, I think he's just going to go for it and trade. But it is a very difficult choice for him because he has no way of just defending this pawn. So he has to either trade queens or come up with a tricky way to continue here. 96 is possible, actually, to try to trade queens like this. which is maybe very similar. But here you get knight c6 quickly. So maybe this is even the best version of the endgame, because black doesn't even have time for bishop e7. You would go knight c6, happily give up this pawn in order to get two connected passers on the queen side. This one should be winning for white. Okay, Miguel asking take, knight e6, king f8. Oh wait, not king f8. Knight, king f6, let's say. Knight d8. Yeah, if white were able to come and take here, I think that would be winning, but I feel like black is not going to let that happen. Black is going to play this something like this, right? Like keeping this stopped, coming up here. But then there's b4 ideas. No, b4 ideas don't work. Takes with the bishop, and here black would promote first. So white's king needs to be closer for this to be working. So very difficult decision for Fabi. I'm not sure which one he's gonna go for. Yeah, Miguel, actually that line's not so over. King f1, king e2, the bishop on d2, knight on c6 could be a concern. Interesting. So Fabi has kind of two ways to go for the endgame. Queen takes g7 and knight e6 first. Actually, how does black hold? Like, let's say that, because this seems like a faster way to get the knight to c6. So how is black holding here? Black might have to play g5 because like here, h4, something like this. Otherwise, like white's completely winning here if black didn't have h3. I mean, maybe it's still nice for white. I'm not sure. King h4. Hard to say. Now we got to start bringing the knight around. Tricky endgame. Tricky endgame. Maybe this way. Fabi thinking. He's a pro. He's using his time. He's working hard because he knows if he can squeeze out a win in this game, oh, that would be a huge result. He would have 4.5. He'd be clear leader. Half a point against Hans. Hans Niemann, guys, by the way, 4 out of 5 after a draw with Levon today. So Hans actually in great position, just like based on his results. He's done really well so far. I don't know if you guys knew that. So Hans Niemann doing well. Fabi thinking. Okay, Mishra draw. Oparin still playing against Shanklin, trying to checkmate Sam. Queen e4 by Fabi. Wow. So he doesn't believe the endgame. Doesn't buy the endgame. Endgame was at least safe. Like, it's not like white ever loses there. So with this, he's really saying that he didn't think the endgame was winning and that he thinks he has better chances here. I don't know if he thinks this position's winning, but he's definitely claiming to have chances. But what's his idea, guys, after queen takes b2? Let's figure it out. Guys, stop being lazy. What's his idea? Okay, I don't know what YouTube chat is talking about. I don't think so, Fushess. In this line, if you go here, and here, I think white just goes b4. It just makes the pass pawn, and then comes back to c6, pushes a5. Bishop can't stop the pawn. So knight is promoting this one all on its own. So I don't know. Maybe he'll say in the interview why he didn't like that endgame. Or okay, later we can check with computer and maybe figure it out. So queen e4, what Fabi does when queen takes b2? Anyone? What Fabi does on queen takes b2? Knight f7 check, king h7. So you want knight e6. Queen f6. I don't know, guys. I'm quite confused by it. At least in the endgame, that looked promising. Or knight e6 first. This one I don't understand idea. Queen b2, queen b7, then queen back to g7, knight f7 check, king h7. Nothing clear. So yeah, I'm thinking black goes queen takes b2. If queen b7, queen back to g7, and I don't see what white has achieved. Check here. Right? So let's find concrete idea, guys. Oh, maybe knight f7 check, knight e5. Okay, good. Good. Okay, guys, now we're analyzing. So black could give check still. And queen h6, but I'm assuming that this construction is not going to hold for black. Queen b7. This looks incredibly scary. Let's say king here. And how would white win? I'm not sure. Knight f7, queen g7. Maybe knight f3, knight g5. Very scary for black. Hard to say that this is game over. Oh, he did take. Check. King goes back here. Okay, not to g7. And now queen h6. Ah, Wesley's so smart. So queen b7, he has queen g7 now. But Fabi, of course, can keep pressing here with f4, but it doesn't feel like he is necessarily cruising here. So I guess he must have thought that endgame is a draw. This one also probably a draw, but maybe some chances here. Because maybe you can get f4, f5 in, take, do some queen and knight stuff. Let's just say, for example, guys, not forced. This is not forced, just complementary line. Cooperative line, yeah? And white would win. So queen and knight. Knight d7 here, maybe queen g7. Queen e6, bishop c3. Still a little annoying for black because you have to deal with all the knight hops and forks and stuff. So Fabi 16 minutes, not making his move instantly. Knight c6 played. Oh, maiden. Good job. Now, what's the idea here if black just goes bishop somewhere? What's happening here? Is there a construction where black starts playing for the win? It's hard to imagine. I mean, white would have to go very wrong. So if black was able to, if white started putting all his pieces back and black was able to activate, then yeah. Or if we got into some endgame where the king somehow got active, then yeah, black would start playing for the win. But I think Fabi will most likely keep control for the most part. Well, maybe he's trying to bring the knight around to e6, but the knight came from g5, if you guys remember. Just a few moves ago. The knight was already on g5 and white wasn't able to win. So he brings it around to e5 and now it would be a bit strange to maneuver it back to e6 just to bring to g5. But Wesley thinking here, so Wesley understands there's still some danger here. Queen f8 played. Queen f8 looks solid. To me, it seems like Wesley is going to hold this. I would say his chances to hold this have gone up a lot in my book. And I would say this is like 90% draw now. I feel like white he gave up the b pawn, but he didn't really make any progress that I can see with my fishy IM eyes. Now if knight b4, queen b4, maybe you could take with the pawn, but this one, king can't stop. This one would be a draw. Okay, knight e5 played. That allows Wesley to repeat with queen h6. It's not clear if Fabi's offering a draw. Sometimes he repeats moves. For example, guys, he repeated here when his position looked very good. But I'm not sure if he's going to be able to... And Wesley, of course, doesn't have to repeat. Like, his position is comfortable enough. He can consider a more harmonious defense. Queen f6, queen g7. Any other games look interesting? I was hoping you guys would tell me, but the only other game in the Open is between Oparin and Shankland, which is not super consequential for the standings. Very, very sharp endgame, though. I don't know what's happening there. Hard to judge. And there's a couple of games going on in the women's that I'm actually following. Looks like Tatev against Rose is equal endgame. Probably a draw, but we'll see. And then Nazi is looking to convert against Anna Sargsyan, which would be pretty big for the standings there. That would completely open up that tournament. So you'd have a bunch of players on 3.5. Okay, Wesley not rushing with his move. Very, very comfortable here. All these pros, even when the position is simple and like, you know, they could find a safe move in a second, they still like take their time and they're always super dedicated to making sure that they don't blunder. It's very impressive. These guys are really good at like keeping their energy up for hours and hours. Because now they've been playing for over 4 hours and they're still, you know, fully focused, not blundering. Yeah, Sparky, totally agree. I don't know if that's directed at to me or at chat, but yeah, I totally agree. The women's games are often very instructive and interesting, more relatable too. I mean, you know, my rating is much closer to the women's than the Open, so I feel like their games for me are much more comprehensible than these guys with their weird moves. You know, their tricky openings, their d4, c3, you know, type stuff. Yeah, queen e8 looks possible. Basically, as long as black has an answer to, like, okay, defends this one and has an answer to queen b7 check, black should be okay. But it's also one of those things where you have multiple moves that look safe, and you still have to pick one. So it's not, sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's easier when you only have one move. And you just play the move that you have to find. But when you have like multiple moves that are decent, like queen h6 repeats the position, queen g7, queen f6 looks fine. You know, multiple moves, it's hard to choose which one is like the most safest. Wasn't Fabi winning before? Yeah, I'm not sure actually. I just saw in the Discord someone mentioned that maybe this moment here he played queen f6 on move 41, but that queen d8 was maybe stronger because this doesn't allow the queen g8 defense. So this might have been a very easy win that he missed here, which I don't really see the problem. I haven't engine checked this, but I don't see the problem because in the game he won queen f6, queen g8. It looks very good, but he didn't actually manage to win. Maybe he had better options, but I'm not sure. But just looking at it optically, queen d8, I don't see the defense for black. Like queen f6, queen g8 looks like only move. After queen d8, I don't see a defense. I mean, I don't know if you guys see one either. Because queen d1 check, king h2 checks run out. And king is just in a box. So if that's true, it's a big, I mean, it's a huge miss for players at this level, because it's like a one move thing, basically. One move thing. And it was move 41, so he had the 30 minutes. So if that's the case, it's kind of inexcusable from, for a player of that level to, and I mean, he might have even seen it, he might have even noticed it. I mean, these guys are so good, they often see it right after. In that case, I'm sure he'll be very, very upset with himself, because that could have been U.S. Championship right there. Right now I think this game is going to be a draw, but if it was a win, then Fabio, you up a full point over Wesley, half a point ahead of Hans, 4.5 out of 5. I mean, the whole tournament would be in front of him basically. 4.5 out of 6. But yeah, he'd be very much in control. Okay, knight f3 is trying for knight g5 check now, so he's not ready to give up. But knight was already here. We basically had this position with a pawn on b2. And yeah, there was no clear win. So my feeling is Wesley should hold this one. Probably saw a ghost. I don't think so, actually. I don't know. There's no ghosts. I know it's weird, but there's no ghost after queen d8. My best explanation is he thought this is winning after queen g8, and that he thought he would have a way there, and he missed something after queen f6, queen g8. Like, he thought that would be easily winning, and then it wasn't so easy. But yeah, I think if he saw queen d8 here, I mean, there's no ghost. There's no ghost. Sometimes there's check, but here, I mean, you're just threatening mate. So I think it's just one of those things, like, if you don't see it, you don't see it. If you see it, it's very easy to calculate. But if you don't see it, then you just don't see it. Does Fabio have to be careful about a queen trade? In the game position... Oh, okay, actually, wait, there is something interesting here. Yeah, so check... and knight h4 maybe. But this is mate in 2. This is mate in 2. So somehow I doubt it. And he would have had to seen this on queen f6 as well. Yeah. But yeah, just here. Yeah, generally they don't miss stuff for no reason. I don't know. I'm sure they'll ask him about it after the game. They usually do. Oh, Fabi, did you consider the move queen d8 in this position? Well, yeah, of course I consider. Or it's like, of course I missed it. Of course I didn't see it. It's not clear if he saw it after queen f6. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'm sure he'll see it after the game, with or without the engine. But yeah, that's my best feeling, that he thought this is winning. Once you see a winning line, you don't really have to look for other moves. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm also wondering if queen b8 is the same as queen d8. Well, actually, maybe here knight h4 right away was an issue. Maybe this was the problem. Because queen covers f7. This is maybe more likely than Fabi just missing a move. This one not so easy, huh? I also have no idea if queen d8's winning. I'm just going off something someone said on the Discord. Might not have even been engine checked, So I haven't engine checked anything. I'm just looking at it with my own eyes. But knight h4, this doesn't... I don't see... obvious win here for white. So maybe it's not so easy. Okay, guys, I check for the benefit of chat. I check. So yeah, this one was winning. But knight h4. Queen f6 is still winning. Bishop f6. This is... Yeah, that's not a move you would see so easily. That's kind of like a computer move. Okay. So new... new hypothesis on queen f6. He didn't figure out knight h4, bishop f6. But I don't know. Engine's saying like this is winning here. Queen f6 is like winning now. But yeah, I think he saw knight h4. Maybe he saw ghost here. Now that's my best hypothesis. I have no idea. Best hypothesis. But yeah. This one allows the queen g8. So now he's going back and forth a little bit. Knight f3, knight e5, queen d5. But yeah, looks like Fabi missed his chances early on. Okay, Sparkets. If a person learned chess at 25 and immediately was 1600 level player, are we saying 1600 online or OTB? Big difference there, yeah? Do you think that person could have become a GM if they had learned chess as a kid? I have no idea about like the rating, about the numbers. I don't think there's any statistics on that, like how good you would have to get to determine your potential if you started earlier. In general, I think that most people, if they started young, they could become a grandmaster if they got pole guard, you know, if they dedicated their lives to it. Yeah, I think in general, if you started as a kid, you could become a grandmaster if you were serious and dedicated all the hours to it. Maybe not everyone, but I think most people would. But I wouldn't base that off your progress as a 25-year-old. I'm sorry. I don't think it. Yeah, it's doesn't make. I don't think it has a lot of relevance. Also, Sparky, you should play some OTB. I mean, if the goal is, if the dream is to become titled, you got to play OTB to make that happen. Okay, knight f3 back. Fabi's still trying, but yeah, I don't think he is going to find something here. Who would prefer a queen trade? At this point, definitely black, because if we imagine the queen's off the board, the bishop is better than the knight. Kings are roughly equal in terms of their activity, but black's bishop is definitely a better piece than white's knight. I don't know if black would be winning in the endgame. I would doubt it, but because the bishop can play on both sides of the board, it's just kind of just a better piece. So I would take black. If we just took the queens off the board, I would take black in a heartbeat. Oh, Wesley was pretty much resigned when Fabi played queen f6. Dang. So I mean, Fabi played like really amazing game too. Like he found all these nice ideas like g6, and then here he's like winning, and he finds rook h6 check, very nice move. Rook h7, he's got this like super nice attack, and then I guess just at the last moment, like he had to find. I mean, it wasn't that easy. It wasn't like he just missed one move, but yeah, he had to find this nice mating construction. Oof, chess is brutal, guys. Now, if you join the Chess Dojo training program as a kid, you will definitely become a grandmaster. That's our grandmaster guarantee. So funny. But it is a good time to join the dojo training program, as always. I'll just say, if you're looking for training plans, supportive community, resources, tools, materials to study, etc., etc., etc. Captain, graduated to 2100 cohort. Congratulations. Well done. Now it's time to get serious. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Now is the time to really take it serious. Get to 2200. Become one of our first masters. Funny. Yeah, we weren't talking about average person, Nick. We were talking about, I was saying if someone started chess as a kid and they got pole guard, right? So they were like taught chess from birth, and they were homeschooled essentially and spent many hours on it. There, I think most kids would have great chances to become a GM if they were treated like that. So that's kind of what I was saying. Yeah, actually, a lot of the prodigies were homeschooled, which is interesting. They, it seems to be a common pattern of kids that do really well in chess, happen to be homeschooled, and end up spending a bunch of time on chess when they're young. Eric Blair, yeah. Update that progress. I mean, we're still working on the site, guys. We're always seeking feedback. So if there's something we can do to make the logging process more satisfying, let us know. It's kind of like one of the main ideas of the program, of the site, is like to try to make it super satisfying to do your chess work and to log it, right? So you guys feel proud and motivated when you're doing your chess, that you're making gains happen. Okay, queen e6. Now Wesley could force the queens off with queen g4 check, but this would be different because here black's pawn is weak, right? So it's not the same endgame. So I don't think we're going to see that one. Instead, we just see king g7. So knight e5. You can probably go queen f6. Or queen e4 check. Yeah, he's all right. Yeah, Nick, try to get on the site. It does take a little bit of time to kind of get used to it, but basically you have your training plan. Those are the tasks we want you to do to get to the next level, right? So you probably already connected your ratings and stuff. So you work on the tasks at your own pace, mark off your progress, fill up your heat map, play classical games, upload those games, annotate them, publish them, join the Discord, discuss with others the training plan, things you need to do, and see your progress over time. Okay, queen d7 check. Yeah, I'm expecting these guys to probably draw here pretty soon. It feels like white's play is kind of fully running out. Hey, what's up, ZJ? Yeah, I think Fabi was winning earlier. Fabi hoping on king h6. King h6 played. I guess knight g5, he is counting on queen g4 check. And that seems to be okay for black because here, white doesn't win the pawn immediately. Black has king h5 and bishop d6. So here. So, yeah, draw most likely. Shanklin drew against Oparin. Okay, so Andy Woodward, the only winner today in the Open. 2 straight wins for Andy. Go, Andy. Andy defeated Darius Schwartz today. So, on this one, check, whoops, this is coming. So there's no f4 because there's going to be en passant, basically. So, still equals something like this, but yeah, white's never playing for the win here. Oh yeah, Nick. No, I wasn't. I took zero problem. No. I mean, it's actually pretty common for people to sign up and then not get into it. And sometimes it's because the site isn't like, it's not the most welcoming, it's not the most obvious what to do. Sometimes people just need to get into it. But yeah, I was just saying it's very common and it's not your fault at all. Are there other interesting games to watch? I was hoping you guys would tell me, but no, I think this is the last game in the open section. And then there is a couple games in the women's that I'm keeping an eye on the side. My 2 friends, Tatev playing and Nazi as well as black. Those end games are, I think I'm kind of watching them more than this one. Because here I think it's just going to be a draw. What do I think was the best game of the tournament so far? Maybe Fabi's game against Oparin was incredibly nice, and then Nazi's game against Tatev actually was like a perfect game from the white side. That was definitely a game I'm gonna save and probably show to students at some point. That was one where Nazi found this like very nice knight f5 Sacrifice. Yeah. The Neiman games, I just didn't look at them too closely. Maybe, I'm sure they were also very interesting. The Neiman game against Shanklin was very interesting, like this H5 and then sack. That definitely was very cool. Sorry, ZJ. Not easy. Not easy. Favorite game of all time? I have many. Many. We did a whole podcast, the greatest games of all time. Actually, I would refer you to that one just because you I at least put more thought into it. And so we broke it up by 3 different periods and ranked the greatest games of each period. Yeah, Nazi's game against Tada was a fantastic game. A hurtful game because she destroyed the King's Indian, absolutely pummeled it, but still instructive. I have to be objective. It was an instructive game. Oh, Fabi Andy game was also very, very nice game. Yeah, that was a very interesting game, just from sporting perspective. Yeah, absolutely. If Andy won that game, that would have been the game of the tournament, of course. Of course. Okay, looks like, guys, this one is wrapping up. I think they are repeating. And to me, it feels like, Fabi, I think he knows he blew it. So that's rough for him. So that means we're going to have 3 leaders going into round 7 tomorrow, guys. Fabi, Wesley, and Hans Niemann. And then tomorrow, don't have pairings yet, but let's see. Fabi, can we see who he plays? Yeah, tomorrow, Fabi. Oh, tomorrow, Fabi Black against Hans. Oh, game of the tournament right here. Hans White against Fabi. It's going to be Italian game. Very interesting stuff, guys. It's going to be fascinating stuff. We'll follow it tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be on at the start, but I'll come on at some point and we'll watch it. We'll watch it live. I did see that moment, ZJ, yes. And I didn't think it was that cool. Just because that endgame trick with Rick CH check, that's well known. I think anyone that plays Title Tuesday a lot knows this trick, or anyone that plays a lot of online blitz. It's like the nicest way to win rook and rook with 2 extra pawns. So this is well known that it's like if King A7, you have to take on C8 and you have to under promote. So I wouldn't say it was the most impressive, but it was cool. It was cool to see it in US Championship. But well known. Even a chump like me knew about this trick. Even a chump like me. How do I know it'll be an Italian game? It's just it seems most likely because Fabi, he's pretty solid. Sometimes he plays Sicilian, sometimes he plays E4, E5. I think with Black, US Championship, he's tied for first. E4, E5 is probably his choice just to be solid. And Hans has been playing Italian game very consistently for a couple of years now. So I don't know for sure, but that seems like most likely choice because Hans is big Italian game guy, and I think Fabi most likely is going to play E4, E5. Maybe lately Fabi's been experimenting with openings. He played King's Indian and Grand Chess Tour, and stuff. Here he played Knight F3, D4, D5, C4. So maybe Fabi will play Sicilian. But yeah, I think Italian game most likely. Okay, guys. I think I'll wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. Still a couple interesting endgames actually going on the women's side. If you guys are interested, definitely check out the St. Louis broadcast to see the end of the endgames there. But Tadev against Rose is pretty equal. And then we have Nazi Paikidze against Anna Sargsyan. Actually, very interesting endgame with opposite color bishops. Okay, we've been rating St. Louis a lot, but let's rate our friend Houseline. He is playing rapid, going for 2100. Oh, what's up, Mr. Pull? Oh, just mentioned Houseline. Yeah, we were about to send him a raid actually. So I think we are done with this stream. All right, folks, we'll be back tomorrow. More coverage of U.S. Championships, round 7. Big game tomorrow, Hans against Fabi. So thanks for tuning in, hanging out. Join the Discord if you haven't already. Check out our YouTube channel. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.